Okay, so today we are going to take a look at the Kershaw Iridium. Stick around, let's see. Okay, so before I open it, let's kind of just go over a couple of little details about it. The little boring stuff. It's supposed to have KVT ball bearings in it. It's D2 tool steel. It's got a deep carry pocket clip, and it's got aluminum scales. Now the price on this, MSRP $100, on sale for $80, and Walmart's got it for $60. Now this, okay, so I am not editing this part out. Kevin, do not edit this part. It's very important. So the story about this knife is, I almost bought the wrong one. So I love knives. I'm not the person that's going to go out there and learn the names of knives and the back history of knives and all that great stuff. That's not me. The backstory to this, I went to Walmart. So I'm told y'all that to tell you that I don't know the names of stuff. So this right here was actually in a slot that said the Kershaw leak. Okay. Well, I don't know. I thought that was what that was. Well, it was $60, and I purchased it and was almost walking out of the store, and I said, well, let me look just for the heck of it. And I did, and it wasn't this knife. So somebody had put the thing in the wrong place. So I go back and I tell the guy, and he says, oh man, somebody stuck it in the wrong spot. He looked, he just started opening up boxes till he found one that looked like this, and it was the Iridium. So now I know what the Iridium and the leak look like. And so they were basically the same price. So he refunded the other one, and then I purchased this one. So always check the box. Do it right there at the counter in front of the clerk. During or after or before, preferably, you purchase it to make sure it is the knife in the box that you're expecting to buy. Or you may not get the knife you're expecting to buy, and you go back in later on and tell them they give you the wrong knife. You probably stuck with the one you bought. So with this knife right here, it has a deep carry pocket clip, though you will have a small amount sticking up. It's got a lanyard loop, which I think they look cool, but I never used them. The pocket clip is very, very tense. You don't just, but it works well. It does. It slips in your pocket. I slipped it in my shirt pocket, and I just got a t-shirt on right now, and it did go on there. This is anodized aluminum backspacer, anodized aluminum scales, and it looks like it's got liners inside that go full length of the knife, and the pocket clip is ambidextrous. The knife, I will admit, I opened it up because I had to, because it's kind of like a Kershaw bug out. So I opened the knife up and flipped it a few times, and it was a little stiff. It had to kind of wear in a little bit, and I've probably flipped it, I don't know, 20 times or so. And now, see, it just falls down. It just falls down. And, well, I don't backflip very well, but you can backflip it. Looking in here, it doesn't look like the spring for the lock, the back lock here, access lock, Duralock that, Kershaw calls it. It's all the same thing. Works all the same way. But I could see in here where you could drill a couple more holes to make your own adjustment for these springs. The knife is super light. To be honest, it's going to balance right about there. So it balances right about in there is where it balances at. There's no screws holding or covering the left-hand carry side. The screws are recessed into the scale, so there should be no snagging, catching, or anything like that. The steel, I think I said it was D2. Of course, Kershaw, branded Kershaw. I really like the knife. The lines, I love these kind of sleek, straight lines. The knife is really light. It's not going to weigh. It's not going to add a lot of weight to your EDC. So the blade is, as you can see, it's kind of a spear point, or I call it teardrop design. It is a flat grind on the blade here, and it's I like a real gradual bevel on that blade. And that's for just a useful knife. A skinning knife, I really want a good bevel, a really good belly on the blade, or at least a good belly on the tip like a buck knife. And then it's got a really strange, which I like it, it's fine, but a secondary grind on the top that kind of terminates just before the gimping on the thumb stud, and it's tapered back the other way. So it gives you a really strange profile on the blade, where you can see it's fat, it narrows down, then it comes back out kind of a diamond shape and back down to the tip. I believe that's what Fancy Dan reviewers are called a drop tip. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Okay. You can see the blade. I mean, I really like the blade. Now, so far, it's broken in really good. It opens, closes, it's loose. I like it. But so far, the only thing I've got against it, and I don't really get it, but some people have put their finger up here and call it the trigger pull or something, and I'm not really crazy about that. Because it leaves you open to sliding forward. I was just taught your fingers go back here. They don't go up here. And now if there was a good finger chole in here, maybe that would be another story. But your gimping on the back of your blade is really good, catchy, and it holds my old leathery, gnarly fingers really well. But it's useless to me holding the knife like this. I'm reaching too far forward. I'm going to be in here. So I really wish that it had some gimping back here on the back strap, right in here a little bit. I think that would be nice to have it in there. To choke up on it, you got a lot of good purchase here. I mean, you're really holding the knife well. I don't think it would slip, but you're gonna cut yourself at some point trying to hold it forward of this. It's just not enough of a gap in here. A finger. What I say that was, I don't remember. But anyway, it's not enough of a gap to get your finger up in here, in my opinion. And that's a sharp blade. Now, what I did notice about the blade, because you notice I got some bare spots in here, and I pretty much keep them in there again like I used to when I was a kid. But like right in here, the back of the blade, just into the belly, and then to the forward of the belly tip, shaving hair easy. One section right up in here, it's kind of rough trying to shave. Now you can, and I don't know if you can see it, but the striations on the blade from the grinding or the belt, the top grind right here, same thing. And then also with the blade edge, I do not feel anywhere that there is a burr on the blade, especially not even in here where I'm saying it's a little rough on the edge. But here we go. The aluminum scales are recessed. It's got a cutout here for the omega spring, and I don't see why you couldn't actually drill another hole or two here to adjust the tension of that omega spring. Now I'm pretty brave, so I don't mind taking these apart. There we go. Finally. Not a simple process there. Okay, so looks like they put a little bit of lubricant here, there, and yonder, which is fine. But what you got is a little probably hardened washer, I would say. Because this right here is some form of steel, this liner. And these bearings, I have no idea. They're very, very, very small bearings. So these bearings remind me exactly like the Ozark Mountain bearings. I mean, I would literally say that they are probably one and the same as far as the material that those bearings are made out of. So the reason that I wanted to get in here is because I want to use some of my homemade lube. Now you can see it's still got kind of around the outer edge. The graphite has settled out, so basically just we'll give it a shake each time we end up using it. And so it's more than I'd like to put on there, but it's done. Okay. And so then, and I'm not gonna like try to get it on both sides of the bearing and all that, because in this particular case, let's get it up here. There we go. In this particular case, this is going to go through. So, and that's it. I put 2 drops on each bearing after shaking it up and getting the graphite mixed up in there. And it took 2 days for that to settle out. And so you'll put, usually these you assemble from one side to the other. It makes it easier to assemble them. And so you would put the washer in the liner here, like that, and try not to lose it, because you don't want to lose the washer. So the washer would go in the liner, and then you would put a bearing and grease it, put the blade on, and then you would put another bearing and oil it and put the washer on. So you got a washer on the outside of each bearing. And so the hardened blade is, one side of the bearing is riding directly on that. And then you have a hardened washer that has I don't know, I guess the hardened washer is on the other side of the bearing that it rides on, in contact with the liner. And of course you can't put it directly against the aluminum sleeve because it will definitely eat that up. So you'd basically start the opposite from this side, on the bottom side. Start building the knife from the bottom side up, putting it all together just like this, and then you end right here. Now I can't find any of the cool paste that all the big boys use. All I could find was gel. So guess what? I am going to put a little dot of gel, but I'm only going to put it on the tip because I don't want we just got a little bit on there. You wouldn't, and this is why I didn't want to use any kind of regular Loctite, and the reason being because you wouldn't want to get any of that Loctite to ooze into the bearings or anything like that, and that's why paste is better. But the gel is fine, because at least it seems to be fine, because it's not migrating. It holds its spot. Put it just, you got to be careful with a big screwdriver like this, because it'll end up, that's a little bit firm, and that is fine by me, because you can strip them out. So I will back that out just a hair. Now I'm going to talk about some of my issues, which are not bad. They're overcomable, but you got to be careful how you grip the blade or grip the knife. It's very hard to transition between holds on the knife. Because, and see, and really, so, okay. So yeah, the one I had, I don't know why, but the screws were so tight that I couldn't break them loose without breaking bits. And even putting a solid one on there, I was afraid I was going to strip it. Though I don't know if you'd strip it. The problem with this pivot screw is it is so super shallow. Do not at all try to do it with anything but a quality Torx bit. These are Craftsman. I tried to get Klein's. I tried to find Weehaw and all that kind of good stuff. And you know, apparently they don't ship stuff all the way down to the south like that. So you can't find it. And the bits you can find are usually security bits, which doesn't help very much at all. So these are Craftsman. And they work just fine. But in this pivot screw, get it squared perfectly in there. I'd recommend you putting it against something, a mat like this, a silicone mat that's grippy against that, and getting it perfectly squared, you know, to break that loose. And I literally had zero issue breaking it loose on this knife and any of these screws here. But get you a backup on these two down here because they will just sit there and spin. But just remember that when you're screwing things back in with a big old honking screwdriver like this, you got to be careful because you can definitely torque it too much and strip these little things out. So these are T6s on the body screws and T8 on the pivot pin. If that was deeper or bigger, like a T10, I think there would be practically no issues with it. But so the only issue that and this knife right here, no hair here because it was sharp all the way down. It was shaving hair all the way down. So this knife right here, the only issue really that I've got against it, because I talked about, and this is like a day or two later, but the gimping way up here, not really comfortable trying to put my finger up here to get to the gimping. I'd prefer to have some down here, but that's not a big deal. I ain't really worried about that. Slick. That's my only real issue is these aluminum scales are super smooth and you're gonna slicky slacky all over the place with these aluminum scales. But I love the look of the knife and everything's good. And like, you know, I can flick it, but I have to grab it like at the pivots because you'll want to try to be back here and it might pop open and pop back or not open all the way because you're putting too much force on this. So you want to try to grab it here at the pivot, and then I'll take my pinky on the pocket clip and then I'll flick it. Well, not very good, but then I'll flick it out like that. Or take my first finger and I'll pinch it like this and flick it with my first finger or my thumb. So this is just, it doesn't feel to be super hard or super light. It just seems to function quite well on the lockup. The blade is really nice. I like it. It's got some hard edges on the back, which would work great for raking something or possibly shaving tinder off of a stick for lighting a fire or a ferro rod or something of that nature. Blade was perfectly centered on this one and the first one, perfectly centered. So really, I got no issues with the knife now. So anyway, that's all I got. We're gonna end this rant and all. And thank you very much for spending your time here. I hope to see you again. Your time is very important to me, and I thank you for spending it here with me. Thanks, and God bless.